This is an astonishing announcement. NASA moon landing and the future of the moon missions, NASA moon missions. Moon landing, NASA chief admits why the Apollo 11 era technology cannot land on the moon. I guess by that he also means that the Apollo 17 technology, which is basically the same, cannot land on the moon either. We know that Apollo 17, the mission was between December 7 and 19 of 1972, was the final mission of NASA's Apollo program. It remains the most recent time humans traveled beyond low Earth orbit, and its crew consisted of Commander Eugene Cernan. So, what does this mean? This is very strange. I fume when I hear things like this. And I also fume when I realize that we haven't been back since then. Amazing. So, Sebastian Ketley of Express UK reports concerning what NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine revealed, why the Apollo era technology from the 1960s is no longer good enough to land on the moon today. Well, we know for one thing, its technology is really bypassed from what we have today. We have tremendous difference in telecommunications, in fiber optics, in our computer systems. Everything is totally different. But still, we don't have an answer as to why they've never been back all these years. That's a mystery. So Jim Bridenstine said that as part of our current Artemis lunar exploration program, we published a draft solicitation asking U.S. industry to think about how they would build an integrated human landing system that will land the first woman and next man on the moon in the next 5 years. So if you're wondering why NASA does not simply dust off the Apollo lander designed to put human on the moon by 2024, you're not alone. Yes, we had a highly successful moon program in the past in which we won the space race, but we have new goals for Artemis, which is a stepping stone for Mars, he said. The first objective of the NASA Artemis mission is to develop reusable and reliable lunar landing systems for the astronauts. Much like SpaceX's signature Falcon 9 booster rocket, NASA aims to build lunar spacecraft that can land on the moon and return to Earth, refuel, and then be reused again. Just like our jet aircraft. Now, the 6 Apollo lunar landings touched down on the moon between 1969 and 1972. All surface exploration of the moon was done on foot and on the lunar buggies. All 6 landings occurred within the same equatorial region because the Apollo command modules were designed to operate in a single orbit. As a result, the lunar modules could only land in specific target areas. About 6% of the moon's total surface was used for landings. Now, 5 years from now, NASA wants to have the ability to land anywhere on the moon. Bridenstine said, when we go forward to the moon, we want to be able to land anywhere we want, and to do so we need a modern landing system that we can reuse, refuel, and refurbish in space. That system will be staged at the Gateway in lunar orbit, our command module to support robotic and human exploration on the lunar surface and mission farther into the solar system. We will accelerate our return to the moon by 2024 and establish a foundation for sustainable human presence by 2028. End quote. Lunar Gateway project will be a small spaceship in lunar orbit built as a stopping point for future moon missions. The Gateway provides sleeping quarters for astronauts in transit, laboratory facilities, and ports for spacecraft to dock, and NASA also wants the Gateway to act as a stepping stone for future missions to Mars. That is absolutely beautiful. According to draft plans, the orbital base will be a 5-day trip away from Earth at a distance of about 250,000 miles. Bridenstine said, we're building spacecraft to internationally agreed standards so that when our partners begin sending their own lunar systems, we'll be ready for them. Apollo did not allow for that, but with Artemis, it's our core principle. And together we will use the moon to validate human safety protocols, technologies, and operational procedures before embarking on the ultimate human destination, Mars, end quote. That's just fantastic, but something passed my eye yesterday. I didn't do a video on it because I was so shocked, but I should. Why not? I think it's Mars One. I think it's the name of the company. They're the ones that planned on sending people on a one-way trip to Mars, and they collected all these funds. Well, they're filing for bankruptcy. They went bankrupt. So there's no way that anybody can get onto Mars, even on a one-way trip, because that company is bankrupt. So what happens now if you have private companies bringing people up to the moon station in orbit, or on the moon colonies, or even jumping off towards Mars, and these private companies just go bankrupt? It's my idea that it should not be done. It should not be financed by private companies that can go bankrupt and risk the whole mission on another planet or on the moon or in a space station. It should be financed by space agencies that will have it running for as long as it will be decided that they should be running. It could be 10 years, it could be 500 years, it could be 10,000 years, but that should be the goal. You can't just send people out and just leave them there to their demise on another planet where they can't find food, water, the fundamentals for life, and just leave them there to their own demise. So anyway, I'll leave a link below for you for this on Express UK concerning NASA Administrators Jim Bridenstine's latest explanations of the moon missions. Oh, there's one very important aspect I forgot to talk about concerning one of the recent findings of one of the objects, these moon artifacts that have been found near the boots of one of the astronauts from a NASA image of the moon landings and the Apollo missions. They found a jar, which was, as you can see, half exposed over the surface of the moon, just behind the right heel of one of the astronauts. From what it looks like, his footprint was the one behind his foot was just stopped in front of the mouth of the jar, and then he took a step, I guess, with the left foot, and then he stepped with the right foot just over the jar. Now, I guess he was doing something, perhaps collecting some samples of something else or whatever, maybe taking pictures, but he didn't see what was behind his foot, what ended up being behind his foot, this little round jar with an opening, round opening. It looks to be ceramic. Even the rim of the opening looks as if it's a little bit inflated, just like the ancient jars that you would find in the villages of ancient Greece or ancient Rome or ancient Egypt. So this is one of the artifacts that's there, and obviously we need answers for this. We need a lot of answers. When they go back to the moon, they have to answer these things, and hopefully they'll have a type of a preparation, and they'll ask the public what questions they would like answered. Well, we will send in our ideas and questions, and this has to be one of them. What was this thing? And what happens? Well, this is obviously a NASA image, and they have to answer that as well, things like that they find there. Hoagland Tower on the dark side of the moon, as well as this artifact here. How did these things get there? Who put them there? Were they humans that resided on the moon at one point? Or was it the space aliens, extraterrestrials that put these things there? These are the answers that we want to our questions. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.